Happy New Year, everyone. It is the start of 2025, and there's lots to unpack in terms of the year that just was, and some insights and perhaps some predictions, although I don't believe anyone can predict what's going to happen over the next 12 months, let alone, an hour or two from now, really. But we can give some uh, guidelines in terms of where we're coming from and where we might be heading. So check out this video. If you're not familiar with the channel, feel free to like and subscribe. My name is Jesse Farb. I'm a Toronto real estate expert, been serving clients in the Greater Toronto Area for well over a decade. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. And now let's jump into the video. So, in 2024, it was a bit of a transitory year. We saw the peak in interest rates, which certainly dampened the real estate market. It made it more expensive for borrowers to borrow, constrained capital, and definitely slowed down the market. Overall, year over year from December 2023 to December 2024, sales only dropped about 2%, 1.8% if you look at a year over year of those 2 months. New listings were up over 20%. So there's a lot more inventory on the market, similar amount of sales that we saw year over year. And the other big indicator is active listings were up over 48%. So essentially, we have a market with more listings, more active listings, meaning more choice for buyers, and the sales are fairly consistent, which you would expect when we see such an increase in active listings. The average price overall, and again, this is for all home types across the GTA, was only down about 1.6% on average year over year. And the listings are sitting on the market for, on average, an extra 4 or 5 days compared to 2023. So we have a market entering into 2025 where there's ample selection and listings available for people looking to purchase, invest, buy their home, upsize their home, downsize, whatever the case may be. On the converse side of that, or the flip side of that, people who are looking to sell their home are competing with more and more listings that are on the market. And that is causing some small price declines, at least on an annual basis, and some stickiness in terms of any potential for price growth or retracing to peak pricing that we saw in 2021, 2022. So, having said that, the other big thread to follow is the rapid decline in interest rates that have set in. We've seen the Bank of Canada quickly drop their overnight lending rate with consecutive rate drops, what they call jumbo rate cuts, 50 basis points. There's an upcoming announcement at the end of January where it's predicted they're going to cut the interest rates again another quarter basis point. So lots happening on the interest rate side. Anyone who's been squeezed by high variable rate mortgages is starting to see some relief as well. So it's going to take time for that to impact the market. Um, and the fixed rate mortgages are tied to the bond market. That's a whole other discussion, but those haven't really moved that much right now. So variable relief, fixed rate mortgages, not so much yet. And there's a record number of mortgage renewals in this coming year, 2025 into 2026. So lots of mortgage renewals are yet to play out. And I think the economic indicators ending the year were fairly weak in terms of rising unemployment in the Greater Toronto Area, negative or very low real GDP growth, depending on which metric you're looking at. So we don't have a robust, economy right now. And then, of course, yesterday there was the announcement by Prime Minister Trudeau with his intention to resign. We're going to be facing an election year in 2025, and that's going to likely cause a huge shift, obviously in leadership, but also in the party that may be taking the leadership in their policies as it relates to the economy, housing, and that's going to trickle down to local markets. So there is no way I can predict what's going to happen over the next 12 months, let alone what's going to happen a day or a week from now. But here's the environment we're stepping into. And I'll give you some outlines. I do think with lower interest rates setting in and a weak economy, we are going to see some health in terms of stability return to the market. And what I mean by that is, I don't think we're going to see huge price growths coming into the spring, but I think we'll see an active, busy market coming into the spring of 2025. There's opportunities for buyers and investors right now. especially in certain segments like the pre-construction market, which has been decimated. So if you're looking to find, that first condo as your new home, or an investor looking to pick up another piece for your investment puzzle, we are seeing a lot of pre-construction units that are selling or using assignment sales below peak pricing, which is more reflective of today's current market value. You got to be careful to weed through which are the ones that are actually of value and which ones are still inflated in today's market. The detached home market, semi detached market, freehold properties, townhouses included across the GTA, are still very well sought after. The good homes that are priced well are selling relatively quickly. The ones that are overpriced, given their condition, location, etc., are sitting on the market. So there's some stickiness there from some sellers. But I think people who are going to need to sell out of the large amount of listings in the market are going to adjust as required to pricing. Buyers who've been on the sidelines are starting to come out as well. So it should be a very active market for both sales. We may see a small uptick in year over year pricing, but I'm not expecting anything too crazy in terms of price growth in the next 3 to 6 months. As interest rates settle in, we'll find a new balance. And depending on the changes in the economy and the leadership in Canada, we may see some more stimulus even if things get pretty bad. So that is a little bit of insight. Again, there's different segments where there's opportunities. Now is a great time for a buyer relative to where we were at peak pricing. Can we go lower? Perhaps. It seems like we've kind of weathered the storm, interest rates back down. So I do think over, the next year, we're going to be trending, if we're not already at kind of the bottom of this cycle, trending back up, barring any, unforeseen circumstances. If you have any questions or want to discuss your real estate needs further, feel free to drop me an email, comment, and I'm wishing you all the best in 2025. And thank you, a very special thank you to all of our clients who allowed us to help them and serve them in 2024, whether they were selling their property, buying a new home, investors leasing out their properties. We appreciate your trust in us and look forward to working with you in 2025.